Okay. I don't know what's going on with my face today, but I had to put on like pounds of blush because I just feel like it looked so flat and dull. And that could be because I'm so dehydrated. So I'm going to drink lots of coconut water today. But today, it's not a lot going on, but a couple of things are going on. My moving process is happening. It's beautiful when I'm in my new place. All I feel is peace. And then as soon as I leave, all I feel is anxiety and fear. So, it's just always bracing. And I just, can't wait to get to that point in my healing where I'm not bracing. Or maybe you never get to there and you just continue to adapt. My aunt the other day, she was like, in the army, we say, embrace the suck. Embrace it because it's just going to continue and it's how you know. So I called the therapist office today. They don't take my insurance, so we'll find another one. What I was drawn to was this particular therapist. It's called art therapy. And I was recommended to her through my friend. And she basically, says, I do art therapy. And during the session, we do things like pottery and things like that. And work with clay and work with our hands. And that's how the therapy session goes. So I was really intrigued. I was like, okay. I found out that she didn't take my insurance. And I was like, well, you know, is that true that you guys do that? She's like, yeah, we typically do it for children. But, it's all about the consultation. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's that. We'll just find another one. I haven't gotten my Superorganism book yet from Amazon, but what's so crazy about that book is that I was just in the library and, just looking at books, and I just took a picture of the book. Then I thought about the book. I walked out the library and was like, the story. What is the difference between an organism and a superorganism? Looked it up, learned about it, realized that, okay, I want to be an organism. I don't really want to be a superorganism right now until I have my family, and when we'll become the one. And I had to sit with that too because, yes, I want children. I always think about my children. I buy books for my children. I educate myself so that, I can be educated and exposed so that I can expose my children to things. And I even got in a fight with the person, not a fight, but an argument because I was like, oh, I would like for my children to know beyond a billion. And they were like, why? Because I was reading, what book was I reading? The Galaxy or something like that. I was reading a book and I was like, wow, all these numbers. That's crazy. I didn't even know that these numbers existed. So I was like, I would like for my children to know these numbers. And the guy was like, why? And I was like, what do you mean why? And they're like, it's not practical. They're not going to use it. So what's the point? I'm like, what's the point of God? What's the point of believing something other than what you use on a daily basis? Like, to know that there's things beyond you. That's the point. Like, and it was a whole thing, but regardless of that, yeah, I take my children's education seriously now, and they don't even exist yet. But they exist in my mind and in my heart. Always, since I was a little girl. And so with the whole idea of a superorganism, I went on YouTube and I was just looking for what other people were saying about it, Google Talks and things like that. And I came across these two guys who studied ant colonies, right? And I had a lot of other things going on, and so I was in and out of the video, but I kept hearing the word altruism, or maybe I just heard it once. But so I looked up and I was like, altruism. And then I remember I was listening to Toni Morrison say the same thing. And at first I wanted, I liked the idea of altruism. And the way that she introduced it was pretty eerie and dark. She spoke about a group of people and how they coped and dealt with a certain situation. And it was a lot different than what you would think, but something tragic happened to children. And, they removed it. They removed the building that this event took place, built a new building, and prayed for the victims and prayed also for the person that did this tragic thing. And they never spoke bad about him. They just tore it down and rebuilt it again. And I was like, something's really odd about that. But something's also really beautiful about that too. And I would like to be that way. And even when you are that way, sometimes you can get taken advantage of. It seems like because we aren't all on the same page, it makes me feel pretty doomed. And it just makes me want to place my love and, my energy in places that I know it's safe. Because I've placed it in a lot of places that weren't safe. And what I'm learning is that even when it isn't safe, you're still here on a mission. So it's count it all joy. Count it all joy. And that's what Marlon told me. And I think about my friend Marlon all the time. Altruism. That's what these ant colonies and beehives have. They have this simplicity that sometimes I want. I feel like, I'm very grateful to be a human being and have that capacity and complexity. But sometimes it's just like the simplicity in certain things are actually really freeing. Something like a beehive, right? They have altruism. It's built into their DNA. I'm here. My purpose is to be a part of this. And this is my purpose, right? You have all different types of bees. You have the queen bee. You have the drone bees, worker bees. Some of those bees are sterile. And a lot of them are women. They're women, and also in ant colonies too, they're women. And but they sacrifice that individuality for their society, and they have been very successful. They have been here before dinosaurs. So it's just like, when I first started looking into beehives, I was like, what is it that they know that we don't know? And same for ants, but it also depends on the ant too, because they're pretty competitive. They can be pretty competitive. And they actually like wrestle and fight and all those things. But they have this gene. They have this knowing. They come. It's coded in them. This idea of altruism, and a lot of our philosophers don't agree. with human beings being this way, selfless. And what I've learned about love is that love is a selfless action, right? Because I've been trying to figure out what love is for many, many years, and I still haven't gotten to it. But what I can tell you is I can tell you what love is not, right? And a very wise man told me that you figure out what love is when you figure out what love is not. But just for a simple definition, you could say that love is a selfless action. And we're here to love and love everybody and love wins and love, 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 love. And it's like, can we all commit to love? Is it possible? Is it healthy? Is it safe? You know? So that's where I am. Those are my questions. And I kind of get afraid to ask life for stuff. I kind of get afraid to ask God for stuff because it's like, oh, you ask me, I'm going to show you. But it's like, no, like, I don't even think, you know what I mean? It happens like that sometimes. Like, God, remove anybody who blah, blah, blah. And you're like, whoa, whoa. Or you don't even ask and you're like, I saw this meme. It was like, so they're off the show. Yes, they're off the show. You're like, really? They're off the show. They're off the show. Forget it. That door, there's nothing behind it. You keep knocking. Let it go, you know? So, I want God to show me, but like, you know, in different ways, not in relationships or anything like that. Like, I don't need to know what love is not, you know, in the relation. Like, I'm done with it. Okay. Show me love through peace. Show me love through this, you know? And I see love all the time. You know, I talked about what I feel cradled in all the time. That's love, and God's grace is love. And that's what love is. So that's that. And that's pretty much all that I got. Those are my thoughts. I still have to do some stuff. I'm pretty much done packing. I'm unpacking. I mean, packing and then unpacking. I've had so much, like, I have so much stuff. Like, I don't need anything else for the next at least 5 years, you know? Yeah, no. And it's just like, my room was so small, and thank God for my room. I thank God so much. But it was like, when I look at all the things that was in it, I'm like, no, I definitely needed a bigger container, like 100%. And I thank God, you know, like, so yes, that's all that I have. Y'all take care, and see you in my next video. What I wanted to say too was that I like these videos. I like, these things, but sometimes I don't like the idea of I like the idea of talking to the camera and saying how I feel, because I also think that these things maybe could help someone, or make them feel like it's okay to express yourself, because I always have feelings of doubt where it's like, why do you need to express yourself? Why do you need people to know what you think? You're being too vulnerable. You're telling them too much. And I'm like, okay, like, why you're talking to yourself, like all these things. They're going to say this. Don't say that, because this is what they're going to think. And it's like, ooh, no. And that's why I press the button every single day, because I have those thoughts. And to combat those thoughts, I'm like, no, let's press the button. We're not doing any harm. So, all right. Have a good day.